know you've been very engaged at county commission meetings, and I've seen you, and I appreciate your willingness to run for office. That's always a big challenge when you do that. We like to start these interviews by just asking, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, hope you got a lot of time. No, I'm just joking. I moved to Florida back in 1984, and I was general manager of restaurants. Found my love in the fire department in '87. Worked my way all the way up as a lieutenant, an acting battalion chief with 30 years of service, and retired 3 years ago, or going on 3 years. Served this community throughout those 30 years on the fire department, through the Naples JCs. I had a couple small businesses that I ran throughout as I was a firefighter, because you do have time working 24 hours, 48 hours off. You can start your own businesses. After I retired, I started really paying more attention to what was going on in the county. Closer than what you would normally do as a firefighter. I was involved in the community, but I got very, very interested with what was going on in the county. And when we were in a meeting with Commissioner Fiala one night over our homeowners association, where I was a president for 8 years in my local homeowners association. And we had some issues, so we were addressing them. She asked if I knew anybody that wanted to run for her seat because she was retiring, and I put my name down. And just got further and further involved because with 30 years of service, I'm not done. I still can wait and retire still at the age of 67 if I want to. I got many, many years in front of me, so I still want to serve this community.
Mm-hmm.
Good, thank you.
That's great. You started a little bit, but what made you decide to run other than Commissioner Fiala putting you up to it?
Well, I start paying attention, I start watching, knowing Ave Maria is out there, and I was paying attention and saw some of the villages that were being produced and going in for planning. And Commissioner Fiala has done a great job, but a lot of concerns were how the 41 was being developed, and people were complaining they wanted, a little bit more, more development, but better. Get away from car washes and storage units. So the only way I can voice my opinion and take care of those matters and listen to the people is to be in that seat. But I also have my own goals to go in that seat, is to be, that will be a full-time position. I don't have, my businesses are closed down, I'm retired, and so being a county commissioner will be a full-time job. My goal is to manage growth. We have growth coming. So we need to do it very smartly and make sure our infrastructures can handle it. We have the roads, we have everything in place, and we have water on one side and we have the Everglades on the other side. So we have to do it very, very cautiously and be great for the environment. And that rolls into having clean water, and we have stormwater runoff, and we have to manage that, and we have to make sure our water quality is there, which goes into, the quality of life that everybody comes to Naples for and love it. And we got to continue to manage that. A few things. I got a whole list of everything, but those are a few.
Well, we'll let you get into a few more of them there. But if you look at it in the next 3 to 5 years here in Collier County, what do you feel are the most pressing issues that need to be addressed?
It is stormwater runoff. That is a very huge issue that we need to control and to work on. We do have policies in place or they have policies in place. I shouldn't say we. I'm not sitting in the seat, but I am planning on being there. Policies are in place over fertilizers and insecticides. So we need to continue with that. We are going to have growth, and with growth, obvious is the cars and the people on the road. So traffic will always be an issue. My other issues that I see over the next few years is we do need workforce housing, senior living, and that veterans live housing. And I feel Collier County they're starting to look at the workforce housing, and it's just not for first responders. It's everybody from teachers to young entrepreneurs that want to start a business here and live here, to attorneys that are coming out of college and want to start into a business. We need them to live in Collier County because that does help our tax base as a whole, and that will keep our taxes down in the long run. And we need to keep our taxes low. That's what attracts a lot of people here, is our taxes are low.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jenna, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, you mentioned public workforce housing. That's one of our top public policy priorities. So if you're elected, what would you hope that the county commission or the county as a whole do to encourage that type of housing, workforce housing, particularly for those sort of gap incomes
Right.
in the county?
Well, there's got to be some incentive somewhere along the line that the county can work with. Talking off the cuff until, and it's, do we offer young people that want to build in Collier County? Can we put off their fees, their impact fees, and make them to live in the house for 5 years? And if they sell the house before 5 years, they have to pay the impact fees. As we know, Golden Gate Golf Course they're doing a phenomenal job there. Moorings Park and the rest of them, all those nonprofit organizations stepped up, and they're going to build. I think that's great. The only way we can manage this, especially with rural lands and what's going out around Ave Maria and the villages, is the bottom line is we have to look into our codes, land development codes, growth management. And if we have to put something in there when these builders come in to have workforce housing in these developments at a reasonable cost, not saying cheap, but reasonable cost for young people that want to live here and work here, we have to look at it that way. So it's going to be work in progress. But I feel Collier County fell behind times a little bit, and now they're trying to address it, and they understand we have to have people living in Collier County and to work here and live here. And we all already know Arthrax is one of the biggest components that are always constantly talking to Collier County about workforce housing. And they're right, and we need to address it.
Yeah. Sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Maybe from a shift gear a little bit here, we're obviously a business association. We work heavily to take care of business and the economy here in our region, and maybe talk a little bit about what you see as maybe either the most pressing issue for business or the way that the commission can help business in the area. And also maybe a little bit about what does Collier County do to diversify its economy. We have an economy right now that's pretty heavily reliant on tourism and hospitality industry. And we've seen what's happened, retail, we've seen what happened and all of that. How do we diversify to get better jobs for our citizens?
Well, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. We need to go out and attract the proper businesses for Collier County. We need businesses like Arthrax. I don't know because we do have areas that can handle businesses like that, and we do need to bring them in. And work with them and attract them and retain them. Again, right down to the bottom line of our taxes. Small businesses, we need to go out, and that's the biggest thing in District 1 along 41. We need to find attractive businesses that we can keep here and not lose in a year or two because, the money, they mismanage their money or it's the wrong business. We have to find the proper business, not just District 1, all over Collier County. It has to be all over, because if we attract the proper businesses, because we can't, as we know with the virus, we can't depend solely on tourism. Now, Collier County is going through their budget, and I do believe what I heard, if it's correct, they feel they collected at least 95% of their money in tourism tax before it happened. I have not seen the numbers, but it could be a little shy, maybe, and they might be right on. but we need businesses here. We need people to live here, but we have to do it smartly and bring the right businesses in that we can keep.
Just to
Thank you.
piggyback
Appreciate
on
that.
that, you mentioned bring the right businesses in. What do you think those are? What kind of industries do you see thriving here in Collier County?
Oh, that's a good question. And I have toyed with that. We need, and there's many out there. Can we find someone that can produce, you know, I can't say like Arthrex, but produce material and have people live there. That is a huge company. But smaller companies that we can bring in here and produce product and they can ship it out. Have great wages. That's the other part of having the proper business, that pay decent wages so we do keep our people in Collier County. I know there's a lot, everybody watches, the minimum wage and want $15 wages. Those are the business we need to find, and good salaries and good medical benefits to attract the people and not lose them. And just so why I say this, my daughter works for Moorings Park. She's been there for 8 years. 9 years somewhere. She started in Moorings Park when she was in high school and went through college and still worked and graduated from UF. Same way with her and my son-in-law, who they went to school and finally got married a year ago. They both graduated from UF and moved back to Collier County, and they wanted to find a home. And it takes, and they couldn't find it. So that's where the workforce housing and the proper businesses. Again, smaller businesses, I don't know. I can't, and I could not know without looking into it and having people work with me what businesses we can bring in here, other than we have the areas and we can get, if we work hard enough, have them here.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the Alliance?
Oh yeah, so we are a part of the Naples Chamber. We're part of the Southwest Florida Chamber of Alliances, which is 7 chambers in Collier and Lee County, and we represent 6,000 members. And we were really formed after the water crisis of 2018, rather, to all kind of come together and advocate for water policy change. You mentioned water policy and stormwater. So what steps as a county commissioner would you take to improve the county's water quality and also work regionally, understanding that water doesn't stop at our county line?
Right. Well, the water flows south from Lake Okeechobee and it heads south. I know Collier County they did buy some property, the Triple H farm. Yeah. And their goal is to start shedding water out of the Golden Gate Canal and start getting it to run through. And we're going to have to work and get the water through 75 and get it down into Rookery Bay. We need to continue to work very hard with the state and federal levels to make sure the funding is always there. And as they're working on the canal system from Lake Okeechobee to clean up water, for us, we just have to continue to watch our policies and enforce our policies with insecticides and fertilizers, and do our best as the canal systems and were designed to bring water through here around Collier County without flooding. We just have to work at it a little better. And the reason I say just a little better, a rough rain, which, I live in Lely, and I know we're only a little bit above sea level, will flood. And I have an issue with that, because that is the locks that are not open, or they have them set too high. They're not paying attention to the rain pattern. So it floods people out. And we can't have that. We need to still continue to do a better job of cleaning our ditches and waterways to make sure water flows correctly. To make sure it's clean, we still have to and always test our waters. And we know we have a lot of septic systems, and we need to look at those. Very expensive to replace, very expensive to say, hey, we need you on sewer. It went through East Naples. It was a big battle. Marco Island went through it. So we have to work with the people and listen to what they need. And if it comes down to where we have to put people on sewer and get them off septic, we're going to have a program in place to give them affordability, because it's very expensive. When East Naples did it, households were paying $18,000 to $20,000 to be put on the sewer. That's pretty expensive for average people that's trying to make a living in Collier County. So we have to, I was lucky when I bought my house, the sewer was I didn't buy it. I bought the lot and built the house. Sewer lines were already paid for, and they go right in front of my house and down the side of the house. So I'm surrounded with it. So I got lucky and didn't have to pay it. The owner of the property did, but there's a lot of people I had to pay those kind of funds. And yeah, that hurt a lot of people, especially with the guys I worked with East Naples. They were making payments and they didn't like it. So that's where water quality and what we have to do, because that will help somewhat with your green algae and your red tides. We're going to continue to have red tide, but we need to be able to take that portion out of the red tide and blue-green algae and try to see what else we can do to take our issues out of that side and do our best to make sure our water quality is great.
Great, thank
Good.
you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. You've done a good job answering the questions. We appreciate you taking the time. Again, one final question. So what makes you the best candidate in this election?
Well, again, I've been here in District 1 for 35 years. I've served this community as a whole for well over 30 years, protected the people, their property, their life. Part of the JCs, I work very closely with residents and their issues. And I'm the only candidate can say I've served this community for over and close to 35 years. And as a county commissioner, you're there, your biggest work is to protect your community, your communities and your residents, and give them the quality of life. And I've been there. I can walk in and I understand serving the public and their safety. And that's our number one priority, is our residents. And not just for me in District 1, it's all of Collier County, you two, everybody. I'm here for the people, working for the people, and that's, we have to put the people's needs first and listen to them.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you. We appreciate you taking the time, and good luck, and please let us know if there's anything we can help you with in the future.
Well, I want to thank you guys. We will be in touch, because when I'm sitting in the seat, you have to be able to talk with people and get their opinion and their advice. It's not about me, it's about the people and what their needs. And you have to talk to the pros and the people that are out knowing what other residents want. I don't know everything. There shouldn't be any county commissioner that does know everything. We have to depend on everybody in the county to make the proper decision. So I appreciate your time and allowing me to talk with you guys today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All
Have a
right,
good rest
thank
of your
you.
day.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Great day. You too. Bye-bye.